Welcome to the Simpler Business Podcast, where we talk about ways to do what you love and serve your people in a way that brings you income and freedom. I'm your host, Marissa Roberts. Join me as I chat with my favorite entrepreneurs about how they simplify their biz so that you can simplify yours. Today, we're diving deep into a topic that has the power to transform not just your bank account, but your entire life: financial wellness. When you have a great relationship with money, you can manage your business and your life with more of a sense of control and confidence. Your money works for you, and the peace of mind that you get from having your finances well organized as a business owner really helps to lift the typically invisible weight that so many female business owners carry around. My guest today is going to show you how improving your financial understanding and awareness can become your superpower, allowing you to step into the rest of your life with the confidence you deserve. Erin Davis helps women stay in control of their money so they can step into the rest of their life with confidence. She understands financial clarity is the key ingredient in moving people's businesses from where they are now to where they want to go. As a qualified accountant with 30 plus years experience, Erin has helped hundreds of businesses manage millions of dollars and become financially strong. But it's not all about the numbers for Erin. She believes that when you're confident, you walk taller, you smile more, you jump at opportunities, and you feel amazing. Erin helps you to become the most confident woman in your work, money, and play. And she does this through her financial wellness checkups, financial wellness strategy, her podcast, and her high-level one-on-one coaching. Erin educates, supports, and empowers women with practical money knowledge and tools. She's the accountant in your back pocket, and with her guidance, female business owners can transform their relationship with money, unlock their full potential, and live a life with confidence and purpose. I'm so excited that Erin is here today. Welcome, Erin.
Hi, thank you. That was such a great introduction, wasn't it? I was listening to that thinking, that's really cool.
Oh, I am awesome. Yeah. Isn't it
Yeah.
funny? Do you know what? I get that a lot from guests. They'll say, "Oh, thank you so much for saying so many nice things." And I'm like, these are things you do. Like, we forget that sometimes, don't we? Because we are really focused on helping other people. I think we're all passionate about our business. We get into it to make a positive difference to people in the world. And yeah, sometimes we kind of put on the back burner all of the cool things that we do. So yeah, I love sharing that stuff.
Yep, absolutely.
I think this is going to be a really good chat because money is such a tricky subject for business owners. I think that there's a lot of pressure on business owners to present ourselves as financially successful right as we step out of the gate. And that puts a lot of pressure on us because when we start a business, it's very different from working in a job. You know, we have to build the structure. We have to set the foundations, build the structure. We wear all of the hats. You know, we're the marketing person, the customer service person, the sales person, the customer experience manager. We're doing all of the behind the scenes admin. There's so much going on. And I think money is such a personal thing that we can often feel a little bit like maybe we shouldn't talk about it, or maybe we're bad people if we do want to make a lot of money, because a lot of people have that sort of feeling of I don't want to share my lofty financial goals in case people think I'm greedy. Whereas actually I've never met anyone in my life who would say no to extra money.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So it's going to be a really good chat. I think people are going to feel a lot more free to talk about money as a result of this one, and a lot less alone when it comes to that, I think.
And that's what I've found. The more conversations that I'm having and the more people that I talk to, the more I am hearing their stories come back, because it is like they have the permission to share their story or just have the conversation. So I think the more we talk about it, the more we remove those barriers about, well, what is it should I do, or what should I have? How should I be doing things? And we can actually just really have an honest conversation about where we're at and where we're struggling, and know that other people are doing the same.
Yeah, I really love that. All right. So why do you think then business owners. And, we're talking about female business owners in this episode. I know there are going to be male business owners that this applies to as well, but I tend to work mainly with female clients. Why do you think we struggle so much with money as business owners? Do you see patterns with people? Where does it come from?
Yeah, I think we attach a story to um, an emotion. So every emotion that we have, we attach a story to it. And each time we keep telling that story, the emotion gets stronger and stronger and stronger. So we have had a lot of stories about money as we've been growing up from our parents. As you said in the intro there, about not making enough money, or we don't want to be successful because we might be greedy. We attach stories to everything. And the more that we tell those stories, the stronger the emotion gets. And so if you have a negative thought about money or a negative feeling about it, we're going to keep coming back to that story, and it's going to keep getting stronger and stronger. And as women, we do love to tell stories, and we love to keep going over the same thing. And that's why we remember like 6 months ago when something happened. And then we all also remember 12 months ago or 5 years ago when the exact same thing happens. And we get really angry and riled up, or we get really strong emotions because it takes us right back to that scenario. So I think in relation to money, it doesn't matter whether we've had that scarcity mindset, or you have to work really hard to earn money, or money doesn't come easily, or money doesn't grow on trees, or you get what you get and you don't get upset. Whatever those stories are that we've been telling ourselves, the more we focus on it, the more it shows up, the more we see it, and the more emotion that gets attached to it. So I think as women, that emotion piece is really quite crucial, because men tend to be able to separate the emotion out.
Mhm.
Us women don't usually separate the emotion, and that's where it stays stronger.
Yeah, that's so true. Men have this ability to compartmentalize things. It's quite
Mm.
beautiful to see actually. But yeah, I just find that we have so much tied up. A lot of our self-worth is tied to how well we're doing at work and how well we're doing with our money. And it's such a big thing. And when you said just then, you get what you get and you don't get upset, can I just say I had this massive aha because I was thinking that today about my own money journey, getting ready for the show today. I thought, it's interesting. I've had a lot of moments, a lot of money moments, money blocks, money issues, and you get what you get and you don't get upset was a big thing for me in terms of when I was working with clients. I used to give out my rates, and then a client would come back and go, "Oh, thank you so much. That looks wonderful, but we just don't have the budget for that." And I remember now when people do that, I go, "Okay, no problem. Well, here's a resource I've created that will help you DIY it in the meantime." But back then I would say, "Oh, no problem. If you don't have the money for that, then I'll just do the exact same service and you can just pay me less." And
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
oh my
Yeah, and
goodness.
we attach our self-worth to that though, because that a lot of women attach success to money. Like we think that we have to be successful to earn a lot of money, or we have to earn a lot of money to be successful. Either way, it doesn't matter which way you look at it, but our worthiness is attached to that success, which then is often attached to money. And a lot of women aren't actually driven by money itself. We're driven by what money provides. It's the outcome that money gives us. It's the time freedom to pick up the kids from school, or to go to have lunch by the beach every day if we want. So money is not the driver. It's what it provides is the driver. So I think when you start connecting everything to emotion for women, it then starts to make sense, because we need to deal with the emotions, and we need to deal with what's those underlying feelings of worthiness or lack of worthiness that then dictate how we show up in our business.
Yeah. I think people listening today are going to be like, yep, I know exactly how that feels. I think that we all have a lot of stuff in common like this that we don't talk about on a regular basis because we don't want to seem like we're not successful people. But actually, the more we open up about this, the better we feel, the more ideas we can share with each other, the more we can learn from each other. But yeah, that little money block, that was a big aha for me. Have you found that there are other common money stories that you see pop up again and again with female entrepreneurs and female business owners? Like, is there, yeah, I'd
Yeah,
love to know.
I feel like it's around that scarcity. Scarcity tends to be a big one. It's either feast or famine, and then they have a lot of fear about investing in their business. So, they might get some money in, but it's like, oh, quick, I've got to spend it because I've got to do this, this, and this. Or I've been holding off doing this, but now money's come in, quick, I need to spend it and I need to do it, rather than sitting and planning and feeling okay with having that buffer in the bank account. It's that never enoughness or never having enough or always wanting more, not being content with where we're at right now tends to be a big one. But I also think too that comparisonitis, that you see other people, they look like they're successful and they look like they're earning a lot of money, but you don't actually really know what's going on behind closed doors. Their credit card could be maxed out. They're paying for all of these things, but their credit card is maxed out. So they're paying like 20% interest, whereas you've got no credit card debt. You're paying things as they come in, spending as it goes out, just have that really nice, easy flow of money, but you don't have all the big flashy things, but you don't have the debt that goes with it. So, there's a lot to be said with just really owning your space and owning where you're at and feeling okay with it. Another money story that I hear a lot about is that visibility space of I can't be too flashy, or I can't be buying these things, or I can't be doing that because somebody's going to judge me
I
because
have
I need to
that.
play small.
I totally resonate with that because I'm at a point in my business now where things are going really, really well, but I'm hesitant to share that on social media, for example, because I don't want people to do that tall poppy syndrome thing, where they cut you down because
Mm.
you're doing well. But also, I don't want people to, like say that I'm lying either, because you know how you get mixed reviews when you share that sort of
Yeah,
stuff. So
yeah.
that's still a block for me now. Things are going really great, but I feel like, oh, I can't really say that because that's being,
That's a bit cringy. Somebody's talking about it, and it's like,
yeah,
oh,
too
what are
big
you
for my
doing? I'm like,
boots. Yeah.
yeah, just just go back. Like, stop
Yeah.
it. It's too much. But I think that we have that real fear of being judged by others. And I know for me, my idea of success in the past, and I've been working through it a lot because it's been around money. So it's about the more money I make, the more successful I feel. But it's coming from that place of money allows me to then do what it is that I want to do. So it can be quite confronting when you have to really own your own money story and to own how it is that you actually feel at a deep level, rather than just that superficial, yep, no, I don't feel like that, or I don't do that, I don't judge other people. Because let's face it, we all judge people,
Yeah.
whether we consciously or unconsciously do it. But we need to just really own our own money story, what it is, because I think when you get the awareness of what it is that's going on for you, you're then able to take steps to resolve it. Because we can stick our head in the sand. And I know a lot of business women that I speak to, particularly in my accounting world, they have no clue about their numbers whatsoever. They don't even open their Xero file. They don't look at their bank account because it is just too hard and it's too much and it's too overwhelming. They don't know where to start, and they just shut it down. Whereas if you own that space of, yep, I'm not really quite sure what it is that I need to look at, or I don't know what it means. It doesn't make me silly or dumb or stupid. It just means that I don't quite get this space. Then it really takes that big mental load and pressure off. So then you can just focus on your business and show up and do the things that you love to do, which is serving the people that you're here to serve and sharing your gifts. But the numbers and the money stuff, is such a crucial part of that. And I think sometimes we neglect that side of it.
Yeah, we do have such an emotional tie to money, don't we? We are,
Mm.
we're either desperately needing it or feeling like we have to hoard what we have in case, that famine time comes in, or feeling like we don't understand, like bookkeeping is such a big one, or accounting is such a big one. When people, you know, aren't when people aren't financially literate like that, they always feel like they're such a failure. But actually, no, it's just you haven't learned that yet. That wasn't taught to you
Mm.
yet. Just because you don't know it doesn't mean you're not a knowledgeable person. You're not dumb. You just haven't learned that yet. And that's why we have people like you to help teach us things like this. And I think
Mm.
it all does come down to that self-worth too. Everything is just so tied up together, isn't it?
And I think as women in particular, I love talking about money, mindset, and confidence because I think the three go so nicely together and you really can't have one without the other. Money is all about knowing your numbers, knowing these stories, feeling confident, feeling financially literate and independent. The mindset is believing in yourself and about your self worth and what it is that you do. And then the confidence piece is being able to take the action and make things happen. So I feel like all three of those things really need to go together in order to be successful in whatever success looks like for you, because success is different for everybody, but they're three key elements. And if you're lacking in one element, it's going to feel hard and clunky and out of flow. Whereas we want to be in that flow state and really tap into our feminine more of doing things that are energetically aligned, connected, abundant. And that might sound a bit woo woo, but I think when you're in that state and in that flow, things just feel easy. And when you're feeling easy, it's simple and it just feels so much better.
Oh my gosh, I feel like we have one mind. That is exactly how I feel
Yes.
about running a business. And it took me a long time to even get comfortable with knowing my numbers as a business owner. And even before then, I remember before I started my business when I was just, working in corporate and we had credit card debt, for example. I did not want to know. I knew I had credit card debt in the past, but I was always head in the sand about it. And the day I really looked at those numbers and realized it actually wasn't as bad as I thought, that's when I was able to release that emotional attachment and just look at this as a project to work on, right? And then, okay, well, actually owing $3,000 here is just needing to pay off this amount of money per month for this amount of months. It's suddenly not a big deal anymore. And I think in business, it's very similar. When I think about how I used to sign clients and just be like, yeah, I can work with you. I can do everything you're asking for. What would you like to pay me? As opposed to now where I go, I want to work for this amount of clients per month. I want to work for this amount of time. And in order to do that, I need to get paid this amount of money. Such a big difference in how I'm coming across, right?
Absolutely. And I think when you have those money boundaries, because really that's what they are, money boundaries, when you're able to have strong boundaries, you're then able to really dictate how people work with you because that then feels good for you. You, as a mum and a woman in the world, it radiates out to everybody in your world. Everybody you connect with feels what you're feeling.
Mm.
So if you are showing up in your business and it is hard and it is stressful and that mental load for money is just so overwhelming and consuming and just taking all your focus, you are going to be tired and cranky and angry and stressed and procrastinate, which then translates into how you talk to your kids as soon as they wake up in the morning, which then translates to how the kids show up at school for the day because they're going to have had an angry mum,
Yeah.
whereas you're not meaning to, but you just are. And then the kids come home and the whole cycle starts all over again. So when you can heal your relationship with money, you actually heal every relationship you have because it filters out and goes more widespread than we actually realize. And that mental load is just huge.
Yeah. And I think about my kids and how the things that I say and do about money and work, that's role modeling to them. That's teaching them what to expect about money and work as they get older, or careers or jobs or businesses. I forget that just me living my life is setting an example for them because they take their cue from me, maybe not
Mm.
consciously, but certainly subconsciously. And so if they see me working till midnight and stressing about how much work I have and how hard it is, they're going to think that's normal, and they're going to get themselves in situations where they have to do the same thing. But if they see me going, I only work mornings now, I like to take time off here and do this for me. I enjoy my work because I'm helping people, but I have great boundaries and everyone knows what to expect from working with me. If they see that, they're going to go into their working life and their career feeling like, okay, well, that's normal to be able to set boundaries. It's normal to be able to charge well for what you do. It's normal to be able to, have a conversation about your worth and what you can deliver and why that's worth the money you're getting paid for. We can either have a negative effect or a positive effect, right?
Mm. We can, and our conversations are changing over the generations. I know that my mum didn't talk about money very much because she wasn't taught it by her parents.
Yeah.
And then the conversations that I'm having with my daughters is very different. And my almost 20-year-old sent me a message a few weeks ago and said, "Thank you so much for teaching me about money." And I'm like, okay, that's so good. But why? Like, there was a question about, well, why? And she said, the conversations that she's having with her friends at the moment, they have no clue. They have no understanding. Whereas my daughter has some money invested. She has a budget because she has a loan that she needs to pay. So she needs to know how much she needs to pay back each week. She knows how much she needs to earn every week. But her relationship with money is just a very different relationship compared to her friends. So I think it really impacts, we don't realize that impact we're having on our kids until a moment like that happens and you go, oh, okay, right, that is a really impactful and a beautiful thing that I'm teaching them. For me, it's just what I do every day and it's just the conversation that I have. But I could have a negative conversation with money, like you said, or we can flip it and we can have a positive or a teaching conversation. And it's just those little moments that they pick up, but it's the ones that they remember, which then influence how they're going to grow up, which then is also gives us insight as to our relationship with money based on the conversations that our parents or grandparents or friends have had in the past, which influence the way that we feel about money. And I know there's a lot of money stories and a lot of people talk about it, but it is really important to dive into that stuff. You don't necessarily need to know where it all comes from, but you need to be aware of it and how it's impacting on you. And if it impacts you in a negative way, then it's something that you need to change. If it doesn't impact you in a negative way, then so be it,
Mm.
carry on. But if it feels icky and negative and heavy, like a real heaviness, then that's where you go, okay, this is not serving me. I need to do something different about this.
Yeah. And I think, what you said just then about how you've influenced your daughters, but they're now influencing their friends. And then you think those friends are then going to learn and influence their brothers and sisters and cousins. And, the flow on effect is huge. And then I think to myself, imagine if we all had this positive relationship with money and it just became something that rippled out across society, there would be so much less anger and so much less violence and so much less frustration because people would stop seeing money as something that defines their life and would start seeing money as a tool that they can use to get the lifestyle that they want. I think we all feel like money controls us, especially when you're trying to start a business and you think, oh, my decisions, I can't make decisions unless I've got the money for that. When really money is just, I don't know. I had this aha moment where I was realized that money is just numbers. It's an energetic exchange. It's numbers on my banking page. It's not
It's just
tied
a
to how good
thing.
I am. Yeah, it's just,
Mm.
yeah, and that was a real aha moment for me too. So yeah, I think we really need to talk about it more. But what
Yeah,
about,
and as I said, the more conversations I have, the more people just open up. And I think you just need to have the conversation. Just be prepared to have the conversation and see where it leads. And you never know what may flow from that.
Yeah. And even just being okay to talk about really starts to instill more confidence in people. They're going to be more willing to talk and think about it later. It's going to get easier every time they do it. So nothing bad's going to happen as a result. But I think what people struggle with a lot too is I think when we have conversations like this, I find them really helpful because I can spot where my limiting beliefs might be, or my blocks, or my challenges that are happening to me as a business owner. But one thing that I personally struggled with a lot, and I hear from a lot of people who aren't quite at their money mindset level that they'd like to be, is what do I actually do then? Like when I know my limiting belief, when I know my block, how do I move through it? Like how do I start getting more financially confident? How do I start learning what to do in order to have my business thrive and not be so worried about money anymore? Have you got any advice for us on how we can start taking that sort of proactive step to making things better?
Yeah, I do. I think awareness is the key. Awareness is the first point. And if you're not opening yourself up to be aware, then you can't change anything. So uh, awareness is something that is talked about a lot. However, I think it really is key because if you're not aware, then you're going to be completely oblivious to absolutely everything that is happening. So awareness is key. The next part is reframing it, like talking about, like if you have a big house debt or a home loan, you're concentrating on the home loan rather than maybe reframe it. I have an asset worth so much, as in the house is worth so much. And then I have this loan that allows me to have that. So rather than just focusing on the debt, turn it around and flip it and look at, well, actually, I have an asset that's worth this amount of money for it. So I think when you start to reframe things and start to use the word yet, it starts to change that conversation. And it's all the conversations that we have in our head. I think also to getting really clear on what your values are and working in alignment with your values, because there's values that we talk about that are very not superficial, but they're very high level ones. They're not actually the deep ones that mean the most to us. So I think when you start to really tap into what is important to you, you can then again become aware of what it is that you're saying to yourself, listening, start reframing, and then also setting those boundaries, like being quite clear about who you want to work with, who you don't want to work with. Don't sacrifice your self-worth and sell your soul to the devil just to get some money, because, we've all been there where we're desperate, but take that desperation out of it and look at it and set it in a place that feels good, if it feels energetically aligned, because the more you do it, the more confidence you will build around that. But then also to surrounding yourself with the right community that fosters these beautiful conversations, like you allows you not to feel shame or judgment when you are having a struggle or you're having a conversation about money that's not um, as high as what somebody else's is.
Yeah.
It's all the little pieces, because I don't think there is one big thing that you can do to just shift your mindset straight away. You actually need to be open first of all, then aware, and then reframe, then take the action and set the boundaries. And it's just building on that over and over again. But then the most important thing about your numbers and your money is actually opening yourself up to learning about it
Mm.
and receiving that information. Everybody at every stage of their business and their life can learn more things. And you may be a top leader or a top business owner in your field, but that doesn't mean you know everything. And I think when you can remove the ego out of that a little bit and just have a bit of humility of, I don't know everything,
Mhm.
somebody is there to teach me something, even if it's just one piece over here and one piece over there, and then figure out what works for you, you end up with that beautiful holistic approach to your business and your life and the way you feel. And as we said before, everything is connected. So start to just put all of those little pieces in place.
I actually like that there's a whole lot of pieces because it makes it feel less overwhelming to be able to achieve, a newer understanding or a better way of handling it. I feel like every little step is like a staircase and you're building on from the step before. And that takes a lot of pressure off, I think. That awareness, that's such a big game changer because immediately you think it's going to be bad, but you actually get a confidence boost from knowing your numbers and knowing exactly where you are right now. And it might seem like a long journey to get to where you need to go, but actually I think once you have that awareness and then you start taking the first step and the second step, you start surrounding yourself with people who are okay talking about money, who don't mind sharing their own, issues that they had and what they did to overcome them. You start learning new ideas. You start getting more comfortable with monetary terms or tax expectations as a business owner, because tax is a really big one, right? That everybody stresses out about.
And it's pretty scary, but when you actually understand it, it's
Not
not
that
that
bad.
scary.
I
If you're
know.
paying tax, you're making money. So you
Ex-
have to be okay with paying tax.
Exactly. The
You
amount of
obviously don't
people.
you don't want to pay more tax than you have to, obviously. And there are steps you can do to reduce your tax, clearly. But paying tax means you're making money. So you need to get comfortable with that. And as a business owner, you need to be okay with that. The amount of businesses that I do a BAS for, that their file is not reconciled until the day before the BAS is due, is just like ridiculous. As a business owner, take some responsibility, learn how to do this stuff or outsource it and get it done. But take some responsibility and get your file up to date.
Yeah.
That is just such a like it's a bit of tough love, I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
how can you be looking at your numbers if your file is not reconciled? You can't. You don't know where you're at. So that you just have to, as a business owner, that is part of being in business. Part of being in business is delivering all these beautiful outcomes to your clients and providing all of these services and products to them. But part of being a business owner is also meeting your compliance obligations. And
Mhm.
it is making sure that your BAS is submitted on time, your tax return is submitted on time, it's correct, and the file that you have is not rubbish. So I think there is a lot of responsibility as a business owner or business owners need to take more responsibility with owning their numbers and owning this compliance and the back end stuff,
Yep.
which can be super boring and it can be super tedious. And if it's not your jam, that's fine. Outsource it. Get somebody to do it. Get a bookkeeper or get an accountant to do it. But you need to know what it is that you're doing and have an understanding first. So then you know that they're doing the right thing for you. Um, but yeah, sorry, that's a little bit off topic, but
Everybody
I thought,
has that struggle though. Like, and you know
oh,
what? It's
yeah.
sometimes even when you know it, you still have a moment. Like I remember my last pass, I had to pay way more than I'd ever paid before, right? So of course, it's like I rationally understand that if I'm paying more money, I'm making more money. But I still had that moment where I was like, oh my God, it's like triple the amount. What's going on? And then had to go, no, it's a good sign. It's a good sign. It's a good sign.
But that's the emotion, right? That's the
Yeah.
emotion attached to the story of, well, I can't be paying the tax man because that's just bad. But if you actually reframe it and go, oh, yeah, okay, well, that means I'm making money and be comfortable with it. And that takes practice. Like it's not something that you could just switch off because obviously we would if we could.
Yeah.
But as a business owner, it is important to be aware and comfortable with those compliance obligations because that is then going to take the stress off. It is going to take that mental heavy load that we feel away. And you don't have to know everything. That's why you pay your accountant.
Yeah.
They are the ones that need to know all of that stuff. But you need to have a beautiful relationship with your accountant where you can ask questions and not feel judged or shame that you don't know this stuff. And you need to really value their time. We charge a lot of accountants charge in 6-minute units. So, it is quite tedious, but it is valuing the accountant's time because they're providing you with a service for something that you don't know.
Yeah.
So the more you can learn and the more you can understand means that you're going to have a much better relationship with your business and your numbers than what you did before.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you're right. I think, sometimes we get that sticker shock in the moment, but that's if we take a step back and recognize that this is an emotional reaction right now. It's not actually an indication that anything is going wrong in my business. It's just a moment. And then you look at, okay, well, where is that number coming from? Oh, it's actually good news. That shift, when you talk about the shift in perspective or reframing, such a powerful thing, such a powerful thing. And often it really is the messages that we're playing over and over again in our heads that impact our life because they impact our actions. I think you're right. The more knowledge you have, the more you outsource to people you trust and take that mental load off yourself. I'm a big fan of that because if I'm paying my bookkeeper and my accountant, they're finding ways to save me money. They're finding ways to protect the money that I'm earning and make sure that I'm not frittering it away. Like they're there for a reason. And I think really when I hired my first bookkeeper, that was when things changed for me. I think I took a step up income wise in the next couple of months because all of a sudden I felt like I had a real business and I had the accountability and I had the responsibility and I had somebody knowing what was coming in and going out. So I had to take my business seriously and not be like, oh, I'm just playing at being a business owner. So that was a big confidence step too. I think these things are good things, right?
And that accountability is huge because if you're just answering to yourself, you're telling your whatever you say to yourself, that's your truth, that's your perception, and it's 100% your truth. Having somebody independent come in there and hold you accountable to do things is quite black and white. And really, the numbers don't lie. So, if you get your numbers right, it's then about managing those emotions that are attached to the numbers and how you feel about them. That really is the game changer.
Yeah. And I think it's like anything else, like if you have a health condition in life and you've got your head in the sand about it, but then you finally go to the doctor and you get that diagnosis and you get an action plan in place, it's not scary anymore. You feel like you can control it. You feel like you're not just a victim to life anymore. And it's the same with running your business, when you know exactly what you're doing and you're looking at goals and actions rather than just dreams and wishes, you feel like you're in control of your destiny. You feel like, you're not going to get just steamrolled by clients and by, customers and things like that. It makes you more confident. And I think people then respond to you better in that way because they know they're dealing with somebody who knows what they're talking about. So what do you think then would
Exactly.
be, yeah, I think, taking that step, taking an action is going to be the best thing that someone can do to kind of change the situation that they're in. But I'm wondering too, if you had somebody right in front of you today who went, okay, my relationship with money hasn't been great so far. I know I want to change it, but I don't actually know what to do first. What do you reckon would be the very first step you would tell them to take in order to become a business owner that can make smart financial decisions with confidence? What do you think would be the first thing they should do?
I think that they should. I really think I really think that they should open themselves up to learning and they should surround themselves with people who know more than what they do. Because I think when you acknowledge that you don't know something or you're not as skilled in that area, you need to put yourself in a place where you're able to learn. And I think the best place to learn is from people like humans. There is a million bits of information online. You can Google whatever you need to know about how to become financially well or how to understand your numbers. But I think when you can feel comfortable with somebody and share your story
Mm.
and then draw a line in the sand and somebody say, okay, but that doesn't have to be your story going forward, everything changes. So I really feel like you need to open yourself up to learning and understanding. And then you need to have somebody step you through it because it is a huge, big thing and it can feel overwhelming, but it's really one step at a time. The work that I do with my clients, particularly in that one on one space, is looking at, well, just teaching them what a profit and loss means, teaching them what a balance sheet means, showing them how to run those reports. And that may seem quite simple, but a lot of people don't know that and don't understand that. So, getting some training on the actual software that you use in your business is really important. So I don't think it needs to be a big, massive step that you need to take to start with. I think it's those little incremental things. Learn one thing, then learn the next thing, and then learn the next thing, because otherwise it's so overwhelming. And I really find having that accountability buddy with you
Yeah.
and stepping you through it creates such a beautiful relationship and takes the pressure off you to have to know everything and do everything. And you can just follow their lead. So when I first meet with a client, it's really about just seeing where they're at.
Yeah.
What's happening? Where do they need support? Because everybody's different and everybody has different levels of understanding and different needs. And we just work through, well, what is it that you're needing? Where's that lacking space or that scarcity space? And then we educate and we learn around that. Then we move to the next space. And it's really that gentle flow, and it's not overwhelming.
I think you're right. If I was thinking about, making big changes in my financial literacy, the difference between me trying to Google it and do it myself, or me just going to somebody who is an expert in that area and going, here's where I'm stuck. I don't know what to do. If I'm trying to do it myself, I don't even know what I don't know. I don't know what to Google. I don't know if the answers I'm getting are going to be relevant to my business in my country with my own, legalities behind it. And I won't know if what I Google and get a response to is actually meant to be step number 4, not step number 1. So I think you're right. I think having somebody to go to in real life, it gives you a good structure to follow. You can confidently take the first step with them. And also, that they're going to tell you, okay, you don't need to know the next 10 steps yet. I'm going to show you as we progress so that it's not a massive big deal anymore. And you can actually do it in a way that still gives you plenty of mental space and physical time to be able to manage this part of your business, because the money side is really such a big part of your business, but not have to make it feel like it's taking up all of your mental space. And I think, to be able to have somebody help balance that out and show you what you need to know when you need to know it, so much more relaxing, such a better experience.
A much better experience. And then you build the foundations. And really, once you've got those foundations, it's the same all the way through. It's just rinse and repeat. But you need to get the foundations right. And there's always a new devil, new level, or new level, new devil, whichever way it is. But you only get what you're prepared to handle at the moment. So get this part, get the structure right, get the systems in place, understand what's happening. And then when you get to that next new level, it's really the same structures and processes, just with a different thought process that goes with it. But if you've got the foundations right underneath, then everything will flow, and you can take your business from a small micro business up to something that is, generating a huge amount of profit, because profit is really the key that we want, not revenue, because revenue is just sales, and sales are just a vanity number, aren't they? Because they don't actually mean you've got money in the bank.
Yeah.
But profit, you can turn your business into something that's very profitable and be living the life that you want, that feels that alignment and expansion and inflow to how you want to be.
Yeah. And I have to admit, this isn't going to be something that everybody's aligned with, but it's me personally, as somebody who really believes in and enjoys the law of attraction. I find that the more I know what's happening in my business in terms of numbers and money, the more confident I am, the more easy I feel it is to talk about it. That was really the key for more of it to start flowing in. Like that was when I started seeing a big difference in money that came into my business and stayed in my business and was actually profit and didn't just funnel straight out again in expenses. It's like the more I knew, the more relaxed I felt. The more relaxed I felt, the more wanted to come to me. So I mean, honestly,
And
it's
that
been amazing.
comes back to your energy, doesn't it? It comes back to the way you feel about yourself and the way you show up and the way that you connect with people. And people can feel your energy. And if money is creating such a huge, heavy mental load, then that is going to flow out. No matter how hard you try and fight it, it's going to flow out and people are going to feel it. So when you can release that and you can just be your happy, vibrant, beautiful self, then the right people are going to be attracted to you and they're going to want to work with you.
Yeah, they're going to want more of what you've got to offer. I love that,
Mm.
Erin. You have just been amazing to have on the show today. I've had so many little like, oh yes, aha moments. And
Oh,
it's been so helpful. And I know our listeners are going to be like, right, I know what I've got to learn. I know I've got to start taking a step. I know I've got to increase my awareness and I've got to get myself in front of someone who can help me, but I don't know anybody like that. I feel like they should take a step further with you. So do you mind if we share? I know you have a first step resource. So you have a financial wellness Kickstarter kit. Do you mind if we talk a little bit about that today for those who are like, yes, I need to do something?
yes, absolutely. So that financial wellness Kickstarter is at erindavis.com.au/kickstart. And it really is just that first step of the awareness. It is taking some time by yourself to slow down and pause for a moment because there's real power in the pause and just really tune into what is it that I know? What is it that I don't know? Where do I need some help? And as we've said before, the awareness is key. So open yourself up to learning new things. This Kickstarter just gives you that little kickstart to really just tap into what is it that I need, where do I need to go, and then from there it's really just about taking the next step.
Love it. Love it. I'm going to leave a link to the show notes in that. It's just so nice to talk to somebody who sees money and business as such a positive thing with so much potential. I think there's so much out there. If I go out in real life and in the real world, you see so many businesses open. You can go through your day and be exposed to 200, 300 businesses. And you really can feel the difference in the vibration of the people who are running those businesses as to who is relaxed and who is, in more of an abundant sort of mindset and who's in a scarcity sort of mindset and just getting their way through the day. And I know as a consumer, I always want to work with the people who are, relaxed and happy and doing well. So the more we can bring that to people, the better. I think you don't know what you don't know. So hopefully this
Yeah,
episode has helped people with that first step. Yeah.
perfect. It just is swings and roundabouts, isn't it? So if you can create more money, you can feel better, you can then do more good in the world. Your kids will be happier, their friends will be happier, their teachers will be happier,
Yeah.
and then everything just cycles around. So, I think we have a real responsibility as business owners to own what is going on for us. If it's not serving you or you need to know more, then it's up to us to make that decision because nobody can force you to make that decision or move it. It's really got to come from you. But I think when you really tap into that beautiful, energetic space of this is the business that I love, I'm here for a reason, I'm here for a purpose, and resolve this money stuff that you've got going on, it allows those other things to just flow beautifully.
Yeah. Oh, I love that so much. All right, everybody. Well, we'll leave links to Erin's resource in the show notes. I hope that you've enjoyed this conversation as much as I've enjoyed having on Erin on the show. And yeah, let's all take some massive and fun and lovely feeling steps towards being more comfortable with our money and bringing more of it in and knowing exactly what to do with it. I think, cut to a year from now, anyone listening today is going to have amazing stories to share. So yes, thank you very much for being here, and everyone listening, I'll see you in the next episode. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Simpler Business Podcast. If you did, please subscribe, rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. There's a link in the show notes to make it nice and easy for you, just the way we like it. If you're ready to simplify and scale your business, you can get started with my free audio class at marissaroberts.com. See you next time.